Carson Price from the historic Wall Center. Vancouver Canucks defeated last night by the Dallas Stars. They'll try again Sunday against the Calgary Flames. Jeff Paterson covers it all for us, our reporter, and of course the host of RinkWide Vancouver. G'day, Jeff.
Hi, guys.
It was
a great process.
The best game of the season from the head coach. I felt that. I didn't really want to say it out loud because it was a loss, but it sort of felt like the most competitive game of the season, and yet they lose, and it just feels like it's a pivotal November 20th game. Is that a thing, Jeff?
Yeah, I mean, it's the curse of the Canucks, right? That you want to praise them. You do. And they did a lot of good things. That second period, maybe the best 20 minutes of hockey they've played. I know the third period in Tampa where they had all the goals, that was fun. But just in terms of digging in and spending time in the offensive zone, and they were aided by some power plays, but they carried that momentum. They had Dallas on their heels in that second period, without a doubt. And yet here we are talking about a third period that gets away from them, another game that goes sideways, one win in 6 on this 6-game gauntlet that we had been talking about as a measuring stick. And so all roads lead back to these are the Canucks. This is who they are. And it's just going to be a struggle, even on those nights where they play well, and we want to give them credit for doing just that.
Out-attempted the Stars, as we mentioned, 76-42. Boy, you very rarely see them out-attempt an opponent by 30-some. That was the case. You mentioned that good third period against Tampa, Jeff, and Foote called this one their best game of the season. So, in one respect, it's starting to come around. Like, the process is there. The schedule gets easier, as we know, and also they get more practice days and more breaks. Do you think there's a world here where they can possibly get on a run in late November, early December, get back into this thing?
I mean, after this game against Calgary, they're out into California, which is no longer a walk in the park. The sun will be shining, but I'm not sure it'll be shining on the Canucks when it comes to results. Guys, it's been a month since they have strung consecutive wins together. That's a really difficult way to make headway in the National Hockey League. And so until I see it, I can want it to happen for them. They can want it to happen for themselves, but ultimately they have to go out there and get it done. I thought it was fascinating that in the aftermath of the 8-5 game in Florida the other night, the Panthers play a 1-0 game at home to New Jersey, and the Canucks go into lockdown mode and looked as sharp as they have defensively maybe all season. And so clearly some messaging from both head coaches that even though Florida got the win, they didn't like what happened and the way that game went. And here were the Canucks. And so that part was promising, that like it's in there, that structure that Adam Foote has been harping on since training camp. I haven't seen it nearly enough, and it gets away from the Canucks far too easily on most nights, but it is there deep down. And I guess the question is this something that they can build on? Even in the wake of a loss, is it something they can build on? They get Calgary coming in here on Sunday. We know where the Flames are in the standings. The Flames are at home to the Stars on Saturday, so they're getting Calgary back-to-back. Again, this feels like it has to be a win. I'm not going to use must-win, but boy, it has to be a win for the Vancouver Canucks. Otherwise, they head back out of the road to win one, lose one, no momentum, all that kind of stuff. And as we found out earlier in the week, like for the people that keep saying, hey, wait till they get healthy, like the reinforcements aren't coming. This is their group. They've got to sort it out. They have to figure it out. And they played well for long stretches last night. But ultimately, and this is the other part too, and I know you guys have touched on it, but it's hard to come down hard on a power play that scored, right? Like they won the special teams battle and lost the hockey game. But in those 80 seconds early in the second period, they simply had to manufacture a goal and they didn't. And that's where that game turned.
And they also look good.
It's sad because the other power plays look great.
Yeah.
They look sensational, as good as they've looked all year, Jeff. The puck movement, the chances. I mean, that was crisp.
Paterson's goal, I like the way he attacked from the side down low. That it doesn't always have to go back up top to Quinn. That's right. If they're shading towards Quinn Hughes, he is effectively creating space for others. And I think Elias Paterson identified that earlier in the season. I don't know if that EP40 takes the opportunity and goes straight to the net, but he's playing better. He's digging in. And I just like that. Like, keep pounding away until that puck finally crossed the line. And that's what happened. It wasn't pretty, but it was effective.
There's a determination with PD right now. It's reflexive. You don't see the thinking going on out there each and every time the puck is near him or on his stick. Season high last night, 23 43. Also, the face-off disparity, Jeff, where he's 15 offensive zone draws and just 4 in the defensive end. And I do want to talk about Paterson and how well he's going right now. But that stat on the face-off, I think, also tells us a little bit about Aatu Räty and Adam Foote's trust level in the young Finnish centerman, because it was not the hard match Paterson versus their best line, the Rantanen line, all night like we have seen for
Räty did well
most of the season.
Räty did well.
Yeah, and Kampf is the other part of that equation, and he didn't have nearly the night in the face-off circle that he did in his debut, but he's there now, and while I don't love him centering a line with Brock Besser and Connor Garland, I get that Adam Foote's hands are tied. I understand that part of it, and so it's where do you plug David Kampf? But again, it gives him options certainly at home. And while we can sit here and say, hey, that was one of the best games the Canucks have played, I think it was one of the best games Adam Foote has played too, to use home ice advantage, to work the matchups in his favor. And again, that's the disappointment here, is that they only score the 2 goals in a 2-2 tie going to the third period, and they can't generate. Guys, they were tied in Florida at 5-5 and didn't get anything out of that game, and this one as well. And so, again, it's a 60-minute game. They've got to play all 60 minutes. That's just, they're not good enough to get away with a period here and a period there. Just staying on Petey, though, the one thing, and this maybe isn't even his fault, is on that 5-on-3. We didn't see a one-timer. Didn't see a one-timer attempt. They didn't put it in his wheelhouse. Like, the teams that score 5-on-3 generally make it look so easy. Zip it around, find an open guy, and he just rips it. And for whatever reason, they kind of wanted to work it on the perimeter far too much. Brock Besser was shooting. I think Hughes had a couple of shots in there, but I don't get it. I mean, Elias Pettersson's one-timer remains their singular most dangerous weapon in those situations. And you can say, oh, teams may have been changed. No, it's 5-on-3. Like, work the puck around, make the Stars move so that you free up Elias Pettersson at some point to get one attempt. That's all he needs, is one attempt. And that was missing from the 5-on-3, and they're 0 in their 3 attempts with a 2-man advantage so far this season.
I always wonder at 5-on-3 why you don't skate behind the net. Just get people wondering what the hell's going on. Add a little bit of chaos to it, and you got the you got that
office.
You got that extra guy to spare too. If this is the launching point for improved play, then it'll be a worthwhile endeavor. But the worry for me is it is now 11 games, Jeff. In 11 games, once have the Canucks held the opposition below 3 goals, which means, ergo, you need to score 4 goals to win. Like that's the pattern they have proven now for a month, that you need to score 4 goals to win a hockey game. That's a lot to ask. A minimum of 4 goals. That's the bare minimum, not the average. And the average is way higher than that. I mean, like, what do you do with that information?
Hope and pray, I suppose, to some degree.
Prayers are not a plan, JPat.
No, I know. And look, this comes through a stretch where Kevin Lankinen has made some saves and played reasonably well. We know that Demko's not going to be available for a while. So, again, what you see is what you get. I do wonder at some point, I think they'll run with Lankinen for a while now, but they have back-to-backs next week out on the road. Do we see Yuri Patera again? Do they call up Nikita Tolopilo, who's supposed to return to the Abbotsford lineup this weekend down in San Jose? It's not all on goaltending, but ultimately they're the last line of defense, and I'm not sure that many goaltenders were going to stop Mikko Rantanen on that backhand. Whew, that was something else. And Jason Robertson, the way he's going, basically put a goal down for him on the card before the game begins. That I guess on some levels you look at it and you say, well, Robertson and Rantanen scored for the Stars. They're expected to. Petey scored for the Canucks. And then Dallas ends up getting goals from Bork and Blackwell to bottom, I think, a second and a third goal of the season. And for the Vancouver Canucks, they got 1 goal from Linus Karlsson, but the Stars top of the lineup outscored the Canucks top of the lineup, and the bottom of the Stars lineup was able to outproduce the Canucks bottom of their lineup as well. And so, even though goals haven't necessarily been an issue for the Vancouver Canucks, we know that goals against have, and they continue to be, and even on a night where we all believe that they did play reasonably well, still cough up 4. And so you're right, just way too difficult a way. Too difficult a path forward here to string wins together and ultimately claw their way back above the playoff bar. And so, hey, the struggle's real. I think by now, 22 games in, I think we recognize defensively, the struggle is real.
Yeah, and 35 third period goals they've allowed. It's the worst in the NHL. In fact, no one else has allowed 30. So games are right there for them. They're giving up goals at the wrong time, and of course, giving up too many on that penalty kill. As well. Can we shout out Philip Hronek? I thought he was outstanding last night, and I think he has played pretty good. We don't talk about him a whole lot, Jeff. Of course, he doesn't talk to us very often either.
True.
But he is as solid as they come, and I thought last night was, if not his best game of the season, then one of them.
Yeah, very quietly with all the other issues that have plagued this hockey club. He's gone about his business. And, of course, Quinn's missed 5 games, and he was asked to shoulder a pretty heavy workload on a lot of those nights. He's got a dozen points in 22 games, so the point production has been there as well. Yeah, the play that he makes, like, how does Jason Robertson not score with the puck on the stick and in the blue paint there? Ultimately, it didn't cost the Stars, but Phil Hronek rode to the rescue and made a nice defensive play there, as he has throughout. 5-on-5, his goal differential is terrific, so he's getting the job done. And this comes back to this age-old problem for the Vancouver Canucks in those minutes when Hughes and Hronek are on the ice. Hey, things are generally fine. It's still an ongoing battle to try to not just hold their own, but stem the tide when Hughes and Hronek aren't on the ice. And, that first goal was sort of an issue and emblematic, symptomatic of what we've seen from this hockey club. Again, they give up 8 in Florida. In the first minute of play, the goaltender's breakdancing in the corner. Tyler Myers is basically in his own net. And predictably, the Stars open the scoring on that play. So there's too many of those moments, and there weren't that many of them overall last night, but they're, put them behind the 8 ball. They're chasing the game from the 55-second mark on. I know you asked me about Hronek. That's my way of saying, like, when Hronek's on the ice, you feel pretty good about things. It's when some of those others are out there that kind of watch the game through your hands.
We knew you were bringing that home, Jeff. You always land the plane, bring it home. And I also want to credit Hronek. He took those 2 big hits. Was it last week in that dirty elbow? He just eats nails and he keeps playing. He's one of their stiffest players. On to another one who should be a stiff player and has had some moments this year. Alas, too infrequently over the last. How many games is it? 7 without a goal for Evander Kane right now, Jeff.
Well, I was going to ask about this too because he keeps getting the ice time. Like
it's an extraordinary amount of 5-on-5 ice time. He's one of the most used even strength forwards in the league, Jeff.
Even on a night last night, Elias Paterson a season high, but Evander Kane played more at 5-on-5 than Elias Paterson did last night by a handful of seconds. So it continues, and it's 3 goals. 2 of them came in the same game in Nashville. So a ton of ice time, a bunch of shots, and absolutely no bottom line for him. And I guess part of my problem here is, are the shots on his stick the same as shots on the stick of Elias Paterson? If they're joined together, they play together a lot, and yet the goal in Florida that Kane set up Paterson in the third period, first time that those guys have combined on a goal all season long. So they play together all the time, and yet it's not like they're burning up the league and inseparable. But again, I think it speaks to lack of better options, that early in the season when Jake DeBrusk was there, it wasn't working with Elias Paterson. So Adam Foote has tried some other things. Kane's had his moments. Like, I don't want to sit here and say it has gone completely sideways for him. I think we've seen some nice playmaking from him, but 3 goals, that's not good enough. And quite frankly, I think through 22 games, I expected more of a physical factor from this player who has made a career. I guess I thought the gloves would have come off by some point now in the season, but more than that, he had the massive hit on Alec Regula behind the net in Edmonton in the second game of the season, but really that's sort of the only hit that I can recall off the top of my head. And that's not to say that he hasn't registered other hits, but just in terms of ones that really have stuck with me all these weeks later. So Yeah, it's a curious case because Adam Foote doesn't seem like he's backing off his ice time at all, and yet you're supposed to earn your ice time at this level, and if it's not happening for you, you wonder if they wouldn't be best off trying some other things. But again, I come back to this idea that goal scoring as a group for this team hasn't been the issue, but there have been some breakdowns defensively on Evander's part as well. A couple of shifts there where you shake your head, maybe not at the JT Miller level, but they certainly bring you back to a point in time here. And so, yeah, two ends of the ice. And if he's not contributing offensively, then you'd like him to be stout defensively. And I'm not sure that I can sit here and say that he's had an impeccable defensive record in his 22 games with this hockey club.
Besser, Garland, and Kampf way out high-dangered Evander Kane and Elias Paterson. And that shouldn't be, given that we're seeing the instincts are coming back here to Elias Paterson. How is a line centered by David Kampf out high-dangering the Elias Paterson line in similar minutes? Like, it doesn't make much sense.
Honestly, Jeff said I don't love that line earlier. Jeff, I'll go further. I hate that line. And I don't know, what's the underpinning logic on playing David Kampf with Brock Besser and Connor Garland, despite their high danger?
Yes.
I think it's as simple as Kampf profiles defensively. He was going to take on some of the heavy matchups. We know that Brock has played that role and, again, has morphed over time. He's not just a goal scorer, that he played matchup minutes with JT Miller. And then Connor Garland is the driver on that line. And the hope is that if they get the puck, maybe Garland can scoot away and they can get it in the offensive zone. I mean, that's my sort of sense of the thinking behind it, the logic. But again, if you're Brock Besser and you want to score goals, I mean, David Kampf is not the setup guy, has never been a 30-point guy in the National Hockey League. And again, Connor Garland seems to be able to give any line he plays on a spark. But yeah, it does feel like a misfit line. But I mean, there's a lot of things that are misfit about this Vancouver Canucks hockey club, unfortunately.
Last question for you, from me at least, JPat. Dolly Wall is saying the Canucks now want to trade Lukas Reichel. And we were told there were other suitors, so okay, maybe there's a market for him. It's the one assist in 13 games, and of course he's not a center. It was well worth the shot, but he's not a center, and it's not working out. If we talk about they need goals, or at least they needed a goal last night, I think I'm ready to see Jonathan Lekramacky again. In place of Reichel or in place of somebody else. Given, as we talked about at the beginning of the year, you have few guys who are better natural goal scorers, naturally equipped to score goals.
Yeah, I wouldn't have an issue with that. I think it was right to start him back in the American Hockey League after missing almost a month, but he's gone down there. Unfortunately, the environment in Abbotsford, I mean, is so far at the other end of the spectrum from where it was last year that when you sent guys down last year, obviously in the second half, they were building to something terrific that resulted in a championship. Right now, it's survival mode. I mean, I do hope that they can get a few healthy bodies back at the NHL level so that they can restock Abbotsford and just give them a fighting chance. But yeah, I would say before too long here, I wouldn't mind seeing Jonathan Lekramacky back in the National Hockey League. I'll leave you guys with this one as well. And this is something that I've just been charting. You know, for a team that's in a lot of these games that could use a goal here or a goal there, the Vancouver Canucks have a league low goals, 4 goals from their defense all season long. Quinn has 1, and it came into an empty net in Dallas. It makes no sense. He's got a 2.2% shooting clip. He's due for a bounce or two. His shot volume, I was looking at this, his shot volume is essentially on par with the last 2 years where he scored 16 and 17. So that's a huge part of it. I get that. But we're 22 games into the season. The Canucks have 1 5-on-5 goal from a defenseman, and it was Tyler Myers off a scramble in Washington more than a month ago. Philip Hronek scored on the power play. Marcus Paterson scored into an empty net the other night. And the fact that you can just pull those off the top of your head tells you that the list isn't very long. There's nothing that says defensemen can't score goals. Cale Makar's got 8. Matthew Schaefer, the super rookie's got 7 alone. So, you know,
I see Quinn trying though, right? Like
that's what I say. Like the shot total is there. He'll get his at some point, but he had 8 at Christmas. It's hard to imagine that he'll get to 8 this time around at Christmas. But there was this emphasis from Adam Foote in training camp about defensemen creating the next layer, jumping up into the rush. Now, a couple of things. They haven't been healthy, and I think that's affected the way that they've approached some games. They've defended way too much, so defensemen probably should be worrying more about defending than scoring goals. But when you're league last in any category, it tells a story to some degree. And again, just in a tight game, in a 2-2 game last night, a goal here or a goal there from a defenseman, from anybody, could have helped the cause. So I just point that out. 22 games in, they're on pace for 15 goals from the defenseman. They had 38 last year, and I think 37 the year before. So that's an area that, again, maybe some bounces, whatever the case. Certainly it could use a little bit of a boost.
I was going to point forward and ask you if the game Sunday versus the worst team in the league, Calgary, is a must-win, but you've already called it a has to be a win. Yeah. Has to be a win.
Well, and
so we know where you stand.
Right. I mean, and look, every time I'm on with you, I've talked about the hellacious schedule the Canucks have endured. But when they finished their game in Florida on Monday night, the Calgary Flames were in Chicago on Tuesday, into Buffalo on Wednesday for back-to-backs. They hustle home. They play Dallas on Saturday at the Saddle Dome, and then play the Canucks on Sunday. In that time, the Canucks have been at home in their own beds with one game. So where they've been up against it with the schedule, complete 180. The schedule totally working in their favor against a bad Calgary team that has 3 road wins all season long, although they did get one in Buffalo the other night. So it's sitting on a tee, or at least it should be. But these are the Canucks. They can't take anybody for granted. But how about that for scheduling to get the Flames twice this year already, both times having played the night before in the province of Alberta. So it's there for them.
Yeah, it sure is. And Jeff will have coverage, RinkWide Vancouver, moments after the final horn Sunday against the Flames. Thank you for this, my friend. We'll catch up Monday.
All right, guys, have a great weekend, a busy sports weekend. So looking forward to Monday already, because lots to break down by the time we do this again.